So, Tanis, I'd love for you to just share a little bit about this new online retreat. Of course, you've been traveling around the world offering retreats for decades, and, of course, in the situation that we have found ourselves in this year, you have been adaptable and have been doing some things online and doing them very successfully. And so now you have created this Transform Yourself live online retreat.
Well, I actually created the original course 20 years ago on January the 21st, 2000. And it was because we were starting the Aquarian age officially at that particular time. And I taught it until 2012 and then developed an e-course so that people could teach it in groups wherever they lived around the world. And so here I am reviewing and redoing what I did 20 years ago, 21 years ago. But it isn't the same because we have moved up a whole different vibration from where we were 20 years ago. And it's an incredible time in humanity. Who would have guessed 20 years ago that we would be in the situation in which we face ourselves? And I think that 20 years ago, Tracey, we were all thinking the Aquarian age was all going to be light and beauty and happiness, and we were all going to celebrate humanity and become world servers without any pain. And since then, it's almost as if we've had to come and look at all the darkness that we have created over the thousands of years that humanity's been on this planet. And this is what the course is about. It's about each of us taking responsibility to transform the old thoughts and emotions and behaviors that we've been engaged in to the light. And unless we do that, each of us has to take responsibility for our own story. And we've been here for a long time. I'm not just talking this lifetime. I'm talking many, many lifetimes. And so we have accumulated a lot of debris. And so this is a very powerful course that I offer. I created something called the etheric clearing technique to help people actually get rid of and transmute these old thoughts and emotions so that it's like digging up the weeds in your garden so that they don't regrow again. Are you still there?
I am. I'm just thinking about the weed.
Probably.
Yeah. I'm thinking weeds. Oh yes, weeds. I it's so much in the computer terminology these days, and it's like I was talking with someone the other day about like defragmenting all of our wasteful thoughts, right? And negative self-talk, and that it feels like etheric clearing is like kind of does that.
That is it exactly, and we only see the physical. Most of us only see the physical, and so most of us don't see the actual debris that exists in our aura. These are actually black, clinging thought forms that attach themselves based on our negative thoughts, our low self-esteem, our self-pity, our greeds and our lusts, and all the other things to which we're attached. And in order to be full co-creators on this planet, and I know a lot of your listeners are really devoted to being a guardian of the earth and being a co-creator on the planet. And in order to do it, we have to clear away this debris. And each of us has to do our own story And it doesn't have to be all painful, because some of the debris is actually old thought forms and beliefs that we might have had 2,000 years ago. And what I mean by that is that we're entering the Aquarian Age, which is going to be for 2,000 years, and that is the age of the enlightened human, where we'll be working in global community, we'll believe in equality for all, we'll be practicing, we'll have sustainable farming, we'll have sustainable ways of conducting ourselves on the earth. So this is the way we are going. But 2,000 years ago, or 4,000 years ago, if we want to go right back to the Aryan Age, it was an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That's the Old Testament. And in the Aryan Age, though we were still cutting off fingers and hands and putting out eyes and believing that we had a God that was very punitive. And then that was replaced by 2,000 years of the Piscean Age, which we're just leaving. And the Piscean Age was based on Buddha's teachings and Jesus the Christ teachings, which was to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And so that was all about love. So we've moved from this judicial kind of God or divine, whatever you want to call it, the universal intelligence that controls us, to this more loving one. But we may have that in our thoughts about how we're supposed to be acting, but do we actually practice it? So there's still a gap in that. So we still have a gap between where we have been for 2,000 years and where we need to go in the Aquarian Age to actually not just believe in theory, oh, we should be nice to others, we should love others, we should be kind and compassionate and forgiving of others, which are all qualities of the Piscean Age, the last 2,000 years. But if we're not practicing it, if we're not really knowing that in all the cells of our body, we need to let go of these old thoughts and beliefs that are holding us back. And some of it is a lack of self-forgiveness. I have to say, some people judge themselves much more harshly than they judge others, wouldn't you say?
Yes, definitely. Yes, we are usually our own worst critic, quite frequently.
Yeah, we are. We are. So even that is an old thought. I don't think that we gain anything by having guilt or shame or lack of self-forgiveness. These are all old thoughts that we need to let go of so that we can embrace our authentic selves. And so that's what the Course is all about. It's being able to embrace our authentic selves and giving people tools to do it. And I think it's a very important time to be doing it. And we're all right now imprisoned in our own homes or our own towns or our own islands. So it's a wonderful time to go inward. And at the beginning of the year especially, it's a wonderful time to go inward and to make ourselves the first priority, not from a selfish point of view, but from the point of view of we need to do our own work. And this retreat is going to go on for 3 months. It'll go on once a week for 3 months, and I'll be giving people the clearings and sharing what I know, and they'll have a workbook. But also we're going to have community groups where people will be able to speak to members of in small groups in our global community to actually go over their own stories and their own exercises. So they'll get a lot of assistance.
Right. If you just tuned in, I'm speaking with Tanis Helliwell. She is the founder of the International Institute for Transformation. She's also the author of multiple books, and she has visited Kauai numerous times, and look forward to her returning to Kauai. You can find out more about this live online retreat. Oh, quick question. So for people who are not able to actually attend the live portion, is this going to be recorded and sent to those people?
Absolutely. And because I'm only 2 hours difference from your time, and we're going to be doing everything at 11 o'clock in the morning, and your time it's going to be 9 o'clock in the morning, so it's not a terrible time.
That's true. That's a very reasonable time.
It's a very reasonable time.
So if you'd like to find out more, you can visit spiritualtransformationcourses.com. That's spiritualtransformationcourses.com. All the information you need is there. There's also a button to register. And now, I love the video that you sent out recently, and you mentioned a lot of the featured statements just now about the Aquarian age, but for people who would maybe like to see that video, where's the best place for them to see that recent video you sent?
Oh boy. Yes. Well, if they register for my newsletter, they can, they'll go on my they'll go on my website. If they want to go on my original website, which is, www.iitransform.com, and register for our newsletter, they can see in the top right-hand corner all of our old newsletters, and then they can just open it up. But we're also going to, during the retreat, the video will actually be posted on the retreat participants' website, so they will get it that way too if they attend.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you just
it's
tuned
always
in,
hard to, and actually, if people went on my YouTube, I think it should be on my YouTube. I just thought of that right now.
Oh, is that just Tanis
Helliwell for YouTubes, and it would probably be the last YouTube.
Oh, well, that's a great, and there's you've made so many wonderful videos. That's a great thing. So YouTube and Tanis Helliwell, I'll spell it for you. TANISHELLIWELL. So it's actually spelled just the way it sounds phonetically. Tanis Helliwell. Go to YouTube and you can put her name in. She's got a lot of wonderful videos. You can also find all the different books that she's written. You have so many websites. No?
I know. I think I have too many websites.
I think it's best to just Google Tanis Helliwell and see where that takes you.
That's probably a good idea. That's as good as anything, Tracy. Well, one of the reasons I have so many websites, because I have 3 and now I'm developing a 4th, is because we keep on changing. And when we keep on changing, we have to change the approach that we have to the world and update ourselves. And I'm no spring chicken, as you know. I've been doing this kind of work for 40 years now, and yet I just want people to think about themselves, and people who may be in their 50s or 60s or, even 70s, saying, all this technology is ahead of me and I can't cope with it and whatever. If we're still alive, we have to cope with it.
Yeah, right.
It's getting easier and easier to cope with. I think that, we make our websites very user-friendly, because if I can understand them, then anybody can. But I think it's very important for people not to get overwhelmed with technology. There's going to be more of it in the Aquarian age. The fact that we are all in this quarantine situation for the last year now, and this is going to go on for another good 6 months, I don't think the world is ever going to go back to the way it was prior to this, Tracey. And this means there will be more Zoom conferences, more online conferences, and fewer people traveling, period, to do courses. And technology for the next 100 years is just going to increase. But ultimately, the Aquarian age is about moving to a place where we are telepathic and able to hear what people are thinking and feeling about us, about the world, about everything else. That's what the Aquarian age is about. It's about co-creation. It's about living in the astral reality, being conscious in the astral reality. But in order for that to happen, we need to clear all these old thought forms, because otherwise, if you could hear what I was thinking now, you could hear what everybody was thinking, and they weren't thinking positive things, either about you or themselves or the world, then that is a kind of pollution. And that's what actually does happen. We're taking in the pollution from our news programs, where it's 90% negative. And every day, what is the biggest thing on the news is how many people got COVID today and how many people died. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's all about who got killed and how many other disasters happened in the world. This is why we have all this debris in our aura. It's because for decades, hundreds of years, we've been focusing on the negative rather than the positive.
Well, thank you so much, Tanis. It is 2:31 here on the Garden Island. You're listening to Kauai Community Radio. This is Tracey with Kauai Vibrations, and my special guest, Tanis Helliwell. She is the founder of the International Institute for Transformation. She's going to be sharing her journey of transformation with you, if you would like. It's called Transform Yourself. It's a live online retreat, begins January 21st. You can find out more. You can also register at spiritualtransformationcourses.com. That's spiritualtransformationcourses.com. You can also just Google Tanis Helliwell, and you can find a lot of information. She has a few different websites. You can see the different books she's written. Her latest book was actually written about Hawaii, and particularly Kauai, and a nice message from the higher beings of Hawaii. And and you have your wonderful Summer with the Leprechaun. You have Hybrid Beings. You have so many books, and you can find them all on her website. You can also listen to her latest and even previous YouTube videos on her YouTube channel, which is Tanis Helliwell. You can go to YouTube and type in Tanis Helliwell, TANISHELLIWELL, and hear about how she's benefited so many people with her transformation courses, retreats, workshops. I've been a benefiter of her presence myself, so I want to thank you so much, Tanis.
Oh, you're not just the benefiter. I'm the benefiter because Tracey organized a course for me, which was working with nature spirits to heal the earth and co-creating with them. And oh, you are a gift to so many, Tracey. You really are a world server. And this is what people have to think about: is how do you serve? How do I serve? How does everybody serve? And rather than thinking, oh, it has to be something big, such as having a radio show or writing a book, it doesn't. It's, how do we serve by being a good neighbor, by being kind to people in the supermarket, by being respectful and courteous, and there's so many ways every moment to be in service.
Definitely. And I was recently was reading an article about the 5 languages of love, and acts of service are one of those. So, which
I love that idea of the 5 languages of love. When I took a quiz on it years ago, and I found out that my partner Simon, who you know, and I totally have different ways to show love and to want to be given love. And we've been together for 12 years, and we have learned by commitment to move towards and know what the other person would appreciate as a loving act. And so, commitment is another thing which is definitely underrated. I think commitment to friends, commitment to our work, commitment to the world, our spouse, whatever it is. It's very important, and that's an Aquarian virtue.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Tanis, and I do look forward to seeing you in person, if not in 2021, I hope in 2022. And once again, you can find out more about Tanis, her work, and her Transform Yourself, which is going to be a live online retreat beginning January 21st at spiritualtransformationcourses.com. That's spiritualtransformationcourses.com, and you can see her many wonderful YouTube videos. If you go to YouTube and just type in Tanis Helliwell, TanisHellwell, and Hawali Makahiki Ho to you and Simon, and
mahalo, and I wish you and all your listeners the most wonderful 2021. Celebrating a rebirth, renewal in the Aquarian age.
All right. Well, hats off to that.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. Aloha, Tanis.
Aloha.
Thanks so much for calling in.